Kent, is there going to be some type of delivery Monday meal? Because I got to tell you, leftovers were not what I was really hoping for.
Guess we'll have to look into that Uber food delivery service. You can send all your addresses to Bob Osmussen. Right? See, Bob's got his still muted, so we can't even hear him. What his response to that was.
You're getting nothing from me. I'm still on morning.
Ken, I don't really think I want Bob to know where I live. Is that a problem?
Fair. I get that. That's fair.
Just a reminder about post game as well. So Brett will be sending out an email with the link, the Zoom link for post game press conference information, how to jump into that. Also, we'll have the regular box account that we've been putting photos and video in during the practices this fall. We'll also include photos by the photographer that we're taking along, who's been shooting this fall. Brett, I think we're still kind of up in the air on the video, right? On what Wisconsin's going to provide from a video standpoint.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to be able to provide yet, so you check on that.
As soon as that those links come from Wisconsin, we'll share that as well. And once again, just a reminder, if you do need to record and you don't have recording privileges, let one of us know. We will start a queue in the we'll start a queue in the chat line. So those wanting to ask questions with Coach, please line up in there, knowing that not everybody has a question today. But we'll start down the line in the chats. One thing I noticed here in the Zoom call or Zoom press conferences, we get more people, but yet I don't have to buy as many lunches every Monday. So although I miss seeing all of you in person, don't get me wrong.
Don't get used to it, Ken.
All right, Coach has joined us. All right. Well, good Monday, Coach. Appreciate you joining us today. And first Monday of the football game week season. So maybe you can start us off a little bit, just talk opening statement, and then we'll open it up for questions from the group here today.
Thanks, Kent. Seemed like we waited a long time for this week to get here, game week to get here. An awful lot goes into preparing for the first game of the season. Our guys have worked hard. For the most part, we're injury free. So we'll have our best players ready to go. We'll need them all, going against a highly ranked, very good Wisconsin football team. So it's kind of game week. I'm just going to go back to that. Can't wait to see exactly how our players will perform. I know they're very anxious. Whenever you come into a game and, you start the football season off and you're, 3 touchdown underdogs, it kind of gets you going a little bit too. So we'll be ready to go. Take your questions.
Okay, we'll start off with Paul Banks. Marley, you're on deck, and Alec is in the hole.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this. It's 1 year anniversary of the big upset today. You mentioned the 3 touchdown point spread after what happened last year. Do you feel kind of disrespected by that? And second part of my question is just when you look back at that upset last year, how big was that for the program?
As far as looking back on, last year, it was big for our program. We needed a signature win. They were highly ranked. We were able to, play good enough football to get the win that day. Going into a football season, as far as being disrespected, until we become a consistent winner, this is a position we'll be in quite a few times. And it's not all bad to be the underdog when people don't have a lot of confidence and, and what they think you can be. But as I look at our football team, we were made progress last year. We were a 6-win team. And I think we're a stronger football team right now. We lost a few guys, but for the most part, our best players are back, and we've added quite a few players. So we're excited about seeing exactly how we fit into the landscape in 2020.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay, Marley, you're up. Alec on deck.
Hey, Lovie. Over the weekend, the positivity rate in Wisconsin was 26%. I can imagine you guys feel pretty confident being in the stadium, given all the Big Ten protocols, but what are some of the other practical challenges like traveling, staying in a hotel, meals? How is your safety going to be ensured in a place that is very rampant with the virus?
Well, Marley, we talk about just concentrating on the things that we can control. You talked about the positivity rate in the state of Wisconsin. We're not going to be there at all of those places. For us to be able to play the game Friday night, we're going to have a clean field. Both programs will be that way. So we're not really worried about a lot of those things. We've been testing every day. They've been testing every day. So in a way, the football teams have been in a form of a bubble a little bit. So we are going to spend the night there the night before, but we're going to get on a bus, go right to the hotel, and we trust the protocols that they have in place there. There's a lot of things on our mind about, this Wisconsin game, but us being safe, that's not one of them.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Alec, you're up, and then Steve from Associated Press, be on deck.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for doing this. What's the importance of having Jake Hansen back after missing a couple games at the end of last season? And how much do you think his leadership is just going to help him with the position switch to the mic?
I think it's established who your lead is on, in all 3 phases. Defensive side of football is Jake Hansen. So it means an awful lot to have our leader, and not just our leader off the field and doing everything right, but he's one of our best football players. In order for us to have success this year, we can have more success, I'll say that, with Jake Hansen being on the football field. So it means an awful lot to him. He was playing outstanding ball until he went down with an injury last year, and he's good to go, ready to go. Can't wait to see him play.
I know you've talked a little bit in the past about your relationship with Jake and kind of, I guess, how special it is. When did that kind of start to grow, and what kind of fostered that growth of the relationship between you two?
Well, I love Jake Hansen, but I love a lot of our players. Not a lot of our players. Love all of our players. sometimes just based on the position a little bit, you may spend a little bit more time with someone. I'm calling the defensive signals and Jake's makes the calls. So I spend a little bit more time with him, but it's easy to like him. He does everything the right way. Works hard on and off the football field. It's just hard not to really buy into a guy like that. And as a football coach, you want guys leading your team that are that way. We get the same thing. We just named our 5 captains from this past Friday. Of course, Jake for the 2nd year in a row. That means a lot to be selected captain 2 years in a row. Nate Hobbs, same thing. I've seen so much growth from him. And on the offensive side of the football, Brandon Peters, everything goes to the quarterback and our center. So for both of them, Doug Kramer also to be the captain, along with Blake Hayes. Our team is in good shape, finally, when we have that type of senior leadership.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay, Steve from the Associated Press, and then Bob Osmussen, you're on deck.
I was just wondering, thank you for doing this for one thing, but I was just wondering, starting so late, what do you expect the quality of play around the Big Ten to be like these first couple weeks? And I was wondering if from watching college football, watching the other conferences in action, seeing some of the mistakes that have been made particularly on defense and special teams after delayed starts, what you kind of learned from watching those games.
Well, I think anytime you watch a game, as you mentioned, situational football comes up, and every time you see something unusual that happens, it kind of helps your preparation for what's going on. I do not expect the football to see a bad brand of football. I think we're going to see exciting, good football from the start. It will get better each week like it always does. But we're expecting to play good football right away, and I know the rest of the Big Ten teams are, and just can't wait to get back into the mix of college football. What we've had to go through is, withdrawals a little bit of not being involved in this special thing we get to do of playing college football. So we can't wait to go. We're excited about also being the first Big Ten team to play. Can't wait to go.
Okay, Bob, you're up. And then Jeremy Werner, you're on deck. Joey Wagner in the hole.
Hey, Coach. Jeff Brom got diagnosed with COVID. I'm wondering what you do extra to be careful about yourself. You always talk about things you can control. What are the things you're doing extra to make sure you're not in the same situation? And what would you do if you had to quarantine?
Well, Bob, what I do is what our players have been doing. We've had a protocol in place for a long period of time. We've been testing around here for a long period of time, daily testing for a long period of time. I wash my hands. I try to socially distance as much as I possibly can outside of our department here. We wear the mask. I think that's what most people do that believe that it makes a difference. You can make a difference in your health by just following some of those things. It's not 100% though. We're not in a bubble, so we're living in society still. We just hope that, I know right now we don't have, our guys are taking care of business, and I'm a part of that. I'm just following the protocol like everybody else is. And we have things in place in case that happens. And, we have a third down game plan, short yardage game plan, and everything else. You kind of keep your game plan to yourself a little bit, and we'll do the same thing. But we feel good about where we are.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Okay, Jeremy, you're up. Joey Wagner in the hole, or on deck, sorry.
Good afternoon, Lovie. You said you have a clean team on Fridays. Is your team clean now, or is everything good with where you guys are with COVID?
Everything's good. Coaches, players, staff, and all.
And this Wisconsin offense, you've talked about Paul's offense a lot. What makes this a big challenge, this kind of offense, especially with the defensive line that you guys are counting on some guys to really step up?
Well, what makes it first off, Paul's been doing it a long period of time. We have a system we believe in. They have the same thing. They're a little different. Most of the, college programs have some form of a spread offense that they run. Wisconsin is different. They believe in, a power running game, play action passes and things like that. So you have to be sound on the run. You have to have your big boy pads. We know going into a game, it's not about us stopping the pass to make them run. They want to establish the run, and we have to meet that challenge. So it makes you be sound. It makes you be, you have to be good tacklers. So we're looking forward to that. Again, we have history. We played against each other a few times now, so I don't think either one of us is going to surprise the other with an awful lot.
You've been confident in this team for a long time, Lovie. What gives you that confidence, especially after seeing training camp?
Well, just knowing what we've gone through, Jeremy, not just right now, for 4 years. I see the matchup. We were able to beat this football team last year. Feel like we're a better football team right now. I know they're better also. So I think it's going to be a good matchup. Again, it'll be decided on the field, but you just look at the new additions that we've added to our program. And I think most of the new additions they're like advertised before. So we'll see.
Thanks, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Okay, Joey Wagner, Scott Beatty on deck.
Good afternoon, Lovie. You talked about confidence. I think some of the players have expressed that. I mean, did this game last year, Wisconsin's perennially at the top of the Big Ten. Did that give these, some of the guys confidence that that talent gap that you guys have, talked about isn't, really as prominent anymore?
Well, I think, you can do an awful lot of talking about what you are, who you can be, and how good, all those things, but it has to be confirmed. And the only way it can be confirmed is if you get a win against good people. We were able to get some big wins last year. So yes, winning definitely gives you confidence that it works if we do it the right way. If we work hard, we buy into it, have each other's back, play hard, and do all the things that we continue to preach. So yes, last year we took a step, but they don't take that record over. We start over again. But by saying we'd be able to start over again, I mean, we don't have a loss on our record, and we can, so yes, can't wait.
And then I know you mentioned Delano Ware as somebody you consider a forced starter at linebacker. It seems like he could, maybe get that start. Does Milo have to sit out the first half against Wisconsin? Is that correct?
Milo does have to sit out the first half of the Wisconsin game. And, I was talking earlier about our plan for COVID. We have a plan for anyone that could possibly be down for whatever reason. COVID, injuries, just suspension. And it's always about the next person up. And we have a couple options there. We have guys, Kaylon Tolson, of course, has played. You mentioned Delano Ware, the Shimon Coopers, the Tariq Barnes. We have some other young players that have been waiting for their opportunity, and they'll get that for the first half. Milo's one of the best players on our football team. Whenever we can get him back out there, we will.
Thank you, Lovie.
You're welcome.
Hey, Scott Beatty, and then Matt Stevens.
Coach, thanks as always for your access. A lot of my questions have been covered, but I did want to circle back to issues of racial justice, social justice, anything that you can preview if there is anything planned of something for solidarity or a show of support on the field from your players or you?
I don't think it would be fitting to say, we'll just get to the game, but yes, there are a few things that we are going to do as a visual, but I'm going to say again, it's a lot more than one visual that you're going to see for a 3-hour period of time with what we're dealing with and what really needs to be done on a bigger picture. Of course, ending up with the election, but we will have a few things that will be on display when we play this weekend, yes.
Seems like all of our attention is on the game, on the team, football returning. Does it feel important to you to not let the conversation fizzle out on that side of things?
Oh, the conversation will not fizzle out. It's definitely something that we can't do, and that's what happens a lot of times. If you have a death in the family, people come to the funeral and they go home and kind of forget it a little bit. I don't think this is something that's going to go away. I know it's not. But there's a time and a place for everything, and there will be a time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Matt Stevens, you're up.
Lovie, I'm interested in what an empty stadium game could mean for you in an opener, especially on the road, and how it may have changed preparation in the sense that you don't have to prepare for much noise? Does silent counts not become part of the priority, and specifically pregame, just trying to get everybody energized in a stadium with nobody in it. Can you talk a little bit about that, if that's been part of the conversation with your staff and how you guys approach that?
Well, first off, I'm anxious to see it too. I haven't been in besides practice, and that's what I'm going to go to. In practice, we have to, you have to get yourself going. First off, if you're relying on somebody else to get you going as an athlete, you're going to fail eventually. It's got to be some self-motivation there. It will be different. But if you ask me, would I rather have 90,000 Badger fans there or no Badger fans there? I'm going to pick the no Badger fans at any time. So me, I think it has to be an advantage for the visiting team when you're going into a hostile environment. But besides that, as far as communication is concerned, it won't be a crowd. We won't have to worry about that crowd noise for the snap. We'll be able to get that. A lot of communication will be easy on both sides. So, and then you're going to get down to football that's being played, which it should be. So in the end, that's what it's going to come down still.
Lastly, from a health standpoint, Rod has mentioned about concerns that he has about 9 games in 9 weeks, just on certain types of injuries that could happen, not COVID related, but physical injuries, hamstrings, that type of thing. Has that been a point of emphasis throughout your training camp to kind of make sure guys understand this is going to be kind of more of a sprint than a marathon, essentially?
I think we set our training camp up for that. It's not like we practice every day, scrimmage every day. We train that way in the weight room. Yeah, there's more games will be played in a more compact period of time, but we're all dealing with the same thing. Control the things that you can control. And that's not something, everything that we could do to try to lessen that possibly happen, we've done. Now the guys want us to let them loose, and that's what we'll do.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll go Rob McCauley, Dennis Dodd, and finish up with, not finish up, but then Mike Pearson. Go ahead, Rob.
College kids, Lovie, have been in general among the worst at towing the line with COVID protocols. So I'm curious, how have you handled compliance and disciplinary issues with respect to COVID protocols?
Well, you kind of stereotyping a group of people there. And I don't think that's necessarily the case with what we're dealing with. Our guys have followed protocol. We haven't had a lot of positive tests. They've done what we've asked them to do. And as far as the discipline, if you break protocol, it's just like missing a meeting or doing anything else that you're not supposed to do. There are consequences for that. We haven't gone to that length. We don't discuss how many positives we have, anything like that, but we don't have anything. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. And if you really wanted to play football this year, it's not something we had to just browbeat on them each day. In order for us to be able to get a college season in, everybody has to sacrifice a little bit. And that's what they're doing.
That's it for me. Thanks.
Okay, Dennis Dodd, you're up. Mike Pearson and Nico to finish up.
Lovie, kind of dovetailing off that, knowing what we've known through the college football season to this point, what level of concern do you have that, the Big Ten can get through this 9 straight weeks without a bye week and get everything in?
Those are things as you look into the future, it's hard to tell. I'm just hoping we're going to start off with week 1 first. We've been without football for so long. I'm just excited about us playing football this week. And as I just mentioned on the last caller, in order for us to play, we've got to all make some sacrifices a little bit to be able to get that done. I think we can get it done, but if you look at society isn't getting it done. So for us to ask our guys to do something that we as adults can't seem to do, we as adults don't, we can't convince adults like, older people to put on a mask. It's infringing on my rights and all of that. Seem like it's some small things we're asking people to do in order to get that done, to play football and everything else. I just know the young people, going back to young people normally don't do what you ask them to do. Our young people have done what we've asked them to do, and I'm hoping the Big Ten can get it in. But first, I'm just hoping that Wisconsin and Illinois can get theirs in. Hopefully that'll be
Great.
the case.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, Mike, you're up, and then we'll finish up with Nico.
Hi, Coach. Though we don't have a depth chart, it appears that your starting offensive line seems to have the common denominator of everybody being from the state of Illinois. Tell me about the uniqueness of that, of having all 5 of your O-line starters from the state.
Yeah, we normally don't talk about starting lineups, but I'll talk about that group though. Yes, they are. Vertus Brown will be starting at the guard position. So it's an all Illinois offensive line. Every one of the guys are products of the great high school football that we have in our state. Some great coaches, and it means an awful lot when those great coaches send their players to the flagship university of our state. So they take pride in that, rightfully so. They're good, excellent football players. Our offensive line has played pretty good football for a period of time around here. And except for really one new starter, they played together for a while. And we're expecting their best year this year. What a challenge for them to start off against a great, Wisconsin defensive front right away. We'll really see where we are.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll finish up the day with Nico. Go ahead, Nico.
Hey, Coach. Last year, takeaways really started to click. I know that's something that you preach on a daily basis to your defense. Have you kind of set a bar for the opener of a number that you'd like to see, just in terms of maybe keeping that momentum from last year going, because takeaways were such a big part of your success last season?
I'm just kind of pumped up on how normally when you ask a question, not you ask a question, but I'm asked a question, they say, hey, tell me about how you guys get, turnovers. And you talked about takeaways right away. That's what we're talking about. Just that's a big part of it right there. Defense has to take the ball away. You can't rely on turnovers. I'll just say that's in our DNA, but just because it's in your DNA doesn't mean it always comes out. But we practice it, we preach it, we live it. And I just think in order to play good defensive ball, that's a part of it. Total defense, rushing defense, those are all important. Third down conversion, but it's about taking the football away. And the turnover ratio, I'm talking about bringing offense into it, that's what determined the outcome of the game. So we're still preaching it the same way. We have some guys that do it well. We talk a lot, Jake Hansen leadership. Jake Hansen was on a course last year to do something no one has done better than anyone has done in college football, and taking the ball away. Nate Hobbs and a lot of the other players have really bought into that. Hopefully we can do it.
Have you given your guys a number, maybe a benchmark that you'd like to see in that opener?
Absolutely. You would like for me to tell you, right?
If you don't mind.
Yeah, no, we have those numbers. You guys kind of know me a little bit. We kind of keep some things in-house a little bit. But as a general rules, we're just talking generally speaking. Every game I've gone into as a head coach and being a part of the defense, all that, you start off with a minimum of 3 takeaways a game. That's the barometer that you kind of use starting off with that. But what we need to do is, and that could go up, it's just based on what the other defense is doing. As we look at it here, it's defense against defense. It's offense outperforming the offense. That's how you have to do it.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, everybody. That'll wrap up Coach Smith, this Coach Smith today. Brett will be working with getting Coach Rod Smith on next. So I'm going to